Okay, so just give me 1 minute. Meantime, I'll just log into the Jenkins server. Okay, I'm just starting the server and then I'll share the screen and then we can start. Okay, so for your understanding, what exactly the master and what the node is, because see, we all will be working on the server side, right? Most of the time whenever we are going to do automations, we have to do the automations on the servers, right? Multiple servers, we will have to work on 50 100 of servers. So how we'll automate all these things? Sometimes what happens, whatever your application, if you are working on a deployment side or delivery side, okay, and you have to sometimes deploy your application to multiple servers. Also you have to, whenever on the integration side, right, continuous building side, you might require to build your application in a different build server. So far whatever we have seen, everything we were building on the master server, right? All the applications, everything, Java was installed on the master server and everything was done on our master server itself. Okay, today I'll show you how we can set off the agent or how we can set up the nodes. So before doing that, you should understand how the master slave architecture works in Jenkins, and what is the master, what is the node. Okay, you can say master node architecture or master slave architecture and all this. Now let me share my screen and I'll just go through with the overview first, okay, with the theoretical first, and then we'll continue with our hands-on exercises. Okay, so it's called master and slave architecture. So people can ask in different ways. The questions can come either master and slave or master and node or agent setup. They may ask you whether you have set up your agent, because you need to set up the agent from the scratch. You should understand how the agent or how the node works in Jenkins. Then only you can able to answer it, or you can able to set up in your organization for the project whatever you are working. So if you see this diagram here, Jenkins master slave architecture, you can see here the master, as I showed you already, the jobs and executors. We are discussing about the jobs and executor, right? So we'll create the jobs, and the jobs, whenever we start building that master, right, the master server or master agent, what it will do, it will distribute the task to the available executors. Okay, that executors could be the master executors based on the label you set up, or it could be the agent or the node you have set up or the slave you have set up. So the master will start building the project or jobs, and based on the availability and based on the label we have set up, that particular build will be sent to that particular agent or particular slave to execute it. Okay, so what is a master? Master, it scheduled the build jobs, okay, dispatch builds to the slaves for the actual job executions. So here we'll see how real timely the master server or Jenkins server sends the or schedules the build jobs and send it to the real environment, to the real build environment to build that project. Okay, in your company, in your organization, there could be 4 or 5 build servers, and you will have multiple jobs will be running, and each build server will be different operating systems. Suppose one build server is having Ubuntu Linux machine, or some build server will have your CentOS Linux machine, and some server will be your Windows, some server will be your Mac OS. Okay, based on the application you are designing and you want to build, you have to send those build to that particular server. Okay, now monitor the slaves and record the build result. So when the master sends that build to that particular agent, everything gets recorded on the master side. and you can see the console output on the master side what is exactly happened at the node end. Okay, can also execute build jobs directly. As we already have seen, we have created the freestyle jobs, we have created the first building job for the second batch, and first batch we have already have executed multiple jobs. All the jobs we have seen being executed at the master end itself. Master has the capability of building the jobs directly. Okay, so that could be a question, so whether we can build the jobs on the master side or not. Yes, the master can build the jobs directly also. Okay, and what the slave does or node does, it execute build jobs dispatched by the master. Whatever the jobs sent by the master, it will receive it and execute it. Okay, that is what the master and slave or master or node does. So what is the exactly slave or node? We can say slave or node. Slaves are computers that are set up to build the project for a master. Okay, so we can say slave or node. It is not just a software or anything. It is entirely a machine, entirely a server. Okay, where we are going to execute the build or the projects. So you can say a computer, a server. Okay, so Jenkins runs on a separate program called slave agent on slaves. Okay, so we need a slave agent to be set off for the master to communicate with the agent and sends the build to that particular server or node by using the slave agent. We'll have a slave agent, and that's a Java program and piece of software. Okay, so when slaves are registered to a master, master starts distributing the loads to the slave. So first we have to set up the nodes and register with master. That task will be done by us if you are going to do from the scratch. And most of the time, if you are a DevOps engineer, you will be asked to set up the node, to set up the agent or slave. Okay, that time you have to do, and you should know how to do that. I'll show you two ways. I'll show you two machines, Linux and Windows machines together, so that you can also able to build, also able to set off your machines in your organizations or in your work, wherever you are working. Okay, so node is used to refer to all machines that are part of Jenkins grid, slaves and master. So slaves and master, or whatever machines are part of the Jenkins need. So that is node used to refer to the all machines that are part of the Jenkins grid. So how we'll set up this, how we can set up the slave agent. The master can start slave agent via SSH, which is the preferred in Linux machine, but that is a different for Windows. Okay, and install the slave agent as a Windows service. Also we can set up as Windows service. Start the slave agent manually using Java website, or we can start slave agent directly from the command line on the slave machine. So these are the way we can do that. So how we'll do, let's see that one. Okay, and we'll do from the scratch, creating the machine, new machine, and then we'll see how we can set up that machines in our master. Okay, and before going to that, we should understand what executor is. Okay, because we are going to work on the executors, and how you'll decide how many executors are required. So what is executors? So a Jenkins executor is one of the basic building blocks which allow a build to run on a node. Think of an executor as a single process ID or as the basic unit of resource that Jenkins executes on your machine to run a build. So it is actually a process, it is a program, it is a task, it is a, you can say it is a process which accept the signal or which accept the request comes from the master and takes it and execute it based on the number of executors available on the node or on the slave side. Okay, so this number executor basically specify the maximum number of concurrent builds that Jenkins may perform on this agent. So we can see how many executors we have. Suppose we have 3 executors, that means we can build 3, the master can send 3 concurrent build to build together. Okay, if master sends 4, what will happen? 3 will be executed, and the fourth one will be in queue status. It will be queue wait status until unless one of them completes, it will be there. So once one of the 3 completes, then the fourth one will come automatically and start executions. Okay, and how you have to set up the executors, that you need to understand the machine behavior, need to understand the machine configuration. Okay, based on the machine configurations, you have to set up the executors. So a good value for the number of executors starts with would be the number of CPU cores on the machine. So it's not only based on the CPU cores, it also has different okay, in CPU cores, right, there will be multiple factors available, right? You should have consider about the memory, consider about the storage, the processes, all these things, right? Setting a higher value would cause each build to take longer but could increase overall throughput. That means if you are setting many executors, more executors for a suppose 4 GB RAM CPU you have, okay, and you are setting off like 5 jobs which are taking 5 executors. Okay, so all 5 executors are started building, so it will all consume the CPU resources. Okay, it all consume the CPU resources, which what it will do, it will slow down the process. The build which takes 30 minutes, it will take 1 hour or more than that, because it's simultaneously working and it is slowing down the process. So that's why you have to set up the executor for faster performance. Better you set up the lower executions or lower executor, so that if you do build some, because we'll have huge resources which can build the jobs faster. Okay, and for example, one build might be CPU bound, while a second build running at the same time might be input output bound. So the second build could take advantage of the spare input output capacity at that moment. So whenever you are sending the builds to the particular environment, particular agent, it considers lots of factor, as I told, like it will consider about CPU bound, it will consider about input output bound, all these things, and based on that it will decide the priority and build it. We'll see in action how it works. We'll create multiple jobs and we'll start sending to the particular nodes. Okay, now this is all about this executor and slave node. Now let's go ahead and do setup of these slaves in our machine, in our master server. So how we'll do that? Okay, so I have logged into my server. Okay, Jenkins server I have logged in. Also, what I have done, I have taken 2 servers. I have already started to save time. Okay, one Linux server and one Windows server. Both the servers are running now. So what I'll do, I'll need let me first set up the Linux one, and then quickly we'll go with the Windows one. Okay, so simple things, whatever we have already covered in our last class. We saw in the 3 ways. You just try different ways. Okay, it's not the only things like you have to do the in one way. They are offering 3 ways to connect the node machine. You just try to do the same things. Okay, now let me just go here, just give a node name like node Linux machine. Okay, permanent agent, create. Something you can do. Number of executors 2, and the remote root directory, it should be home Jenkins. And the labels, I'll just explain you little later after this class. So use this node as much as possible. I'll show you there are other options also there, and the way to use I'll show you after this. And what do we need? Launch method, let's go with via execution command controller. Okay, and this command you have to give, right? So let me just copy the command, what command we need to provide. So what do we need here? Instead this one I need the slave IP, right? So let's go there and get the slave IP. So I'm just going to make this one as the slave or this one as the node. Copy this one, go here, paste the IP. Okay, so what do we need here? And one more thing I just forgot to tell you actually, be careful whenever you are doing the setups. Why see, okay, all this setup has now been done. Now what we need to keep this agent as much as possible, that's okay, and this node properties we'll discuss it later. So let's save it. This will fail, okay, no worries, this will first fail. So what we need to do is actually, you have to first thing, whenever you are doing practice, and this thing will not be repeated in your organization or in your company, because in your organization they will be using the domain name or the host name they will be using, and that will be the static IP address or static domain name. Okay, but in our case it is the dynamic IP address. Whenever we reboot the system or whenever we create a new instance or stop or start instances, what happens, it creates a dynamic IP address. So what happens in our Jenkins server, right? By default, if you go to the system, configure system, Jenkins server, right? Manage Jenkins configure system. What you'll see here, the IP address in the system configuration is different than compared to the new one, right? So if you go here, see this Jenkins URL, this Jenkins location. Normally what happens whenever we do setups, sometimes this Jenkins refers this location, and that will cause the problem. Okay, and you have to make sure while setting up, and this will see this problem will face in the Windows agent setup. Even sometimes in Linux agent setup also this will cause the problem. This was I had forgot in my last class, like this was pointing to the old Jenkins server IP. Okay, so what I'll do now, just copy this URL, Jenkins, new Jenkins URL, paste it here. Okay, and you have to update it whenever you are restarting your Jenkins server. Okay, but in case of your company's organization, you don't have to bother about that, because it will be a static IP address or static domain name or static host name. Okay, just save this. Done. Now what we need, just go ahead to the manage Jenkins nodes. So we set up these nodes. However, we have not installed the slave agent on the agent machine. Okay, so quickly I'll just do the setups. We already have gone through this. Okay, let's go to the terminal and connect the agent. Good. So always what you do, better do update the system. Okay, so I'll just upgrade the system. Let it update. So what do we need? As for our things, we have to first set up the things, the master. As the agent is running, as the agent is a Java agent, right? The jar file. So we have to install the Java, right? We have to install the Java. So let's go ahead and install the Java first. Before that, let me check whether Java is installed already or not. So if you do Java hyphen version, it's not installed. So what we can do, we can install the Java version by selecting these options. I'm just giving just install Java apt install default JRE, or if you want 8, 11 or whatever, you can just go ahead and install it. So let me just go ahead and install the Java 8. Yes. Okay, and you should not be worried about this. Actually, whatever I'm showing you is from the scratch. If you are going to set up a new environment and start working from there, and this Java and all these things will be installed by your administrator or by your team before you are using that machine. If it is not, and if you have administrative privilege, then you can install the Java also. Okay, uh, but mostly that will be done by an administrator. Okay, so you don't have to do that. Now, after installing Java, what we have to do? We have to just create the Jenkins user. Okay, I'll show you another good thing actually. Just use sudo user. Okay, add. Okay, before that, let's check the Java version. Java version. So we have 1.8 JDK. Okay, installed. Good. Now what I need, just do the user. Okay, user add Jenkins. So it is sudo. And this is must, guys. You have to create the Jenkins user. Okay, now what we need, change the password. Okay, password is updated, so change it to issue Jenkins. What it says, cd cannot cd to home directory. Check the user ID, it says. And if you do cat etc psd, we have one in sh. Cd home check. Okay, so directory is not created. Okay, let me tell user. So I'm just deleting. So that is a difference between two commands actually. So sudo deleting the user. Okay, I used user add, right? Now let me use add user Jenkins. Just give the um, so a Jenkins user is created. So if you see here, I used user add. Okay, I used user add. It created the Jenkins user. However, it did not create the root directory or did not create the user directory here. Okay, and that's why we are not able to connect to the, we are not able to cd to the home directory. But if in case this, what happens, you have to use add user, and what it does, it acts and creates all this home directory. Also it is asking to change the password of the newly created user. Okay, now I'm not going to, okay, we have changed the password. Let's connect to the Jenkins user. Good, so we are connected. Now if I go here, so you can see here we changed from Ubuntu to Jenkins user. Okay, Now in this directory you will see one hidden directory will be there. It's not there. If it is not there, so simply, as I told before, just create one .ssh directory. Okay, now this is the agent. This white one is the agent. Now let me go to the master machine quickly. So ssh I, let me get the server IP. Good. Now here the Jenkins home directory is totally different. Remember, whenever you install the Jenkins will install and create the home directory called under the var leave Jenkins. Okay, so if I change to the Jenkins user, it will directly take you to the change the Jenkins user. But if I do pwd here, it takes us the var leave Jenkins. And you know, in the system administrator, if you want to see the users created and their complete path, home directory and all, so you will see there will be under etc, and there will be a file called password file, passwd. Okay, so if you cat it, you will see all the user with the related users and their directory, home directory. Okay, Jenkins, the user and the name and the command being executed, everything will be there here. Okay, if you want to change the root directory, you can change it here. User home directory, you can change it here and set up. And there are a lot of setups is required if you are going to change anything here. Okay, now let it be there. I have the both side, both master and agent. This is the green one is the master one. Let me come this side. Okay, this green one is the master one and this one is the agent. So what I need, I'll quickly go to the home directory, and here already the SSH folder will be there. So take the public IP, just see cat, go to here we have created .ssh folder, go there and nothing will be there. So what do we need? Just create vi authorized key, right? Authorized underscore keys. Enter, paste the key here. Paste the key here. Done. Saved. Fine, right? Now let me connect from the agent machine. I have connected as the root user. If I do ID, sorry, Jenkins user. Okay, I have connected as the Jenkins user. Now let me get the agent IP here. Go to the Jenkins server machine, and from here try to connect. I don't need anything, just use Jenkins @IP. Hit enter. Okay, good. So we are able to now connect to the agent machine manually. We are able to connect agent machine manually. Okay, let me come out from here. That's done. What do we need now? We have all this set up. Now we need the agent to be downloaded and installed. So where? So we are into the home Jenkins. So we need the agent to be downloaded and installed. So we'll use the sudo get to download the agent. Quickly do that. And the master IP is the one. Get the master IP here. I'll copy from this line. Go here. Good. Master IP. Just put this master IP and master URL. Okay, your server URL. From there, I'm just downloading the jar file. Hit enter. It should not be the Jenkins user. Okay. Sudo su. Okay. cd home Jenkins. Just use to download. Okay, the jar file is downloaded to the Jenkins folder. Okay, slave.jar file is downloaded to the Jenkins folder now. So what we need now, our jar file is already downloaded. So what we need to set off the things in our Jenkins server. Okay, all these things you see, only we have to just download this slave.jar file from the master server, from the server. Okay, from the server, Unix server, from the Jenkins server, you have to install this or download this slave.jar into the home directory of this agent Jenkins machine. Okay, agent machine. Now what do we need? Just simply go to your node, check here. Okay, go to the configuration. Now you can see your home Jenkins, and here you can see we are going to execute this slave.jar under home/Jenkins. And if you want to keep this slave.jar on the node machine anywhere else, you don't want to keep it here. If you want to keep it in OPT or etc or anything, so you have to accordingly you have to change this path here itself. Okay, it's not mandatory that you should keep in the home Jenkins. You can keep it anywhere else. Okay, now what do we need? Let's try to launch the agent. Okay, it's cool. So what it says, the agent successfully connected. The agent is successfully connected. So if we go here and check, our agent is now online. Our agent is now online. It is guys simple. Okay, so in our last class it was causing the problem because of I had messed up with the system files by doing some R&D, that was causing the problem while connecting that. But in case of if we are going to set off this, just use the Jenkins user. Why? Because if you go to the Jenkins server, okay, if you go to the Jenkins server, in our last class I was showing, if you go to cd etc and system config, right? I think system config cd etc. Let me clarify an I system. Okay, system. It should be system empty. Okay, here there is a different file. In our previous case, I was showing that Jenkins file default user to change it. Okay, so you have to change it now. Now let me go to system. I think there should be there. System. I'm sure. Okay, in Ubuntu, I think somewhere else it is there. I need to find it out. Let's just go away from here. Now what do we need here? Now we saw how to connect the Jenkins agent, Jenkins Linux agent by using the options. By using the option, go to properties, configurations. By using this launch agent via execution of command and the controller, you just try to do the setups whatever I showed you. Okay, the other way also we have the launch agent via SSH and launch agent via connecting it to the controller. Try with the different ways if you are okay with that, or else if you are doing for the testing, first thing actually you should understand what the slave or what the master agent or master slave connectivity and why we need it. First you have to understand that one. Okay, then whenever there is a requirement to build your project or job in a different agent or different build server, then you have to set up the agent. Okay, we need a different build server. I'll show you in the project. Okay, after we fixed all these nodes. So once we fix the Windows server, I'll just create one pipeline job and I'll show you how we can execute all these in a different environment, in different environments. Okay, let's go ahead and set off. Okay, so now you are clear with the Linux agent setup. Okay, now let's go ahead and set off the Windows agent. And be careful guys, in Windows, whenever we are working in the Windows machine, right, that machines you would have first will have definitely some restrictions will be there, and you have to set off and fix the restrictions fast before using the agents and all. Okay, so what you'll do, just go ahead. Okay, before that, let me just okay, first give here, like I'll give as win agent, Windows agent, okay, something like that, permanent, create agent, number of executors go to, and the remote root directory. Okay, as this will be an agent, at this will be the agent of the Windows machine. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to set off the root directory as c colon slash, and suppose I'm going to create Jenkins. Okay, suppose I'm going to create Jenkins. Now what we need, select the labels. Okay, this level things we'll discuss later. Launch method, and you just use by using the, this time we are going with launch agent by connecting it to the controller. Okay, now what we need the custom working directory. I am not going to give this custom working directory. By default it will take whatever we have set up. Okay, we are not going to add it or override it. And this internal data directory where the logs and everything will be stored, it will be under remoting. And what we need, and that's all. This remoting should be there. Availability, okay, that's all. This is all what you have to write it. Okay, and agent, fine, good. So you created. Now this agent will fail because we have not yet set up anything. Simply we created an agent on the Jenkins server, but still we have not set up anything on the, with the agent. So what we need, let's connect to the Windows machine. Connect to the Windows machine, get the IP addresses, and if you are using the Windows machine, you know how to connect to the Windows server. Okay, if you are using MacBook, okay, or Linux server, that could be a different applications with which we can connect to the Mac server. So for your case, you can use the RTP or RDC or anything. So just try to connect to the Windows server. For me, I think I have one. Is called Microsoft Remote Desktop application in my MacBook. So what I need, it will open one applications. Good. So this I can delete. Now add PC. Just give the PC name, or you have to give the IP address. Okay. So user account, ask whenever is required, or add user account here. So username. So how will get this username and password for the Windows server? I already have shown you in our Windows instance creation and setup. I'll show you again today. Now what we can do here, simply go to this machine. Okay, select this one, and here you can see the connect option. Right here you can see the connect option. Connect it. Now I need this RTP client to connect. Select this RTP client. Now connect using the RTP client, and here you can see the default username for Windows machine is administrator. Default username for Windows machine is administrator here. Copy this one here. So I'll just add user account here. Just give the administrator. But how will get the password? How will get the password? Just go here. You can see one option is called get password. Right? Click on this get password. What do you need? The key pair. Whenever we create the Windows machine, that time we had selected the key pair name, right? That key pair we have to select it here. Browse. In my case, I believe it was mbaquatech.pem, right? So it will be under download folder. So let me go to my download folder here, downloads, and it will be mbaquatech.pem, right? Open it, and you can see here the private key is loaded automatically. Now decrypt the password. So the password will be generated from this key file. Okay, the password will be generated from this key file. Decrypt the password. Here it is. We can see the password is this one. Copy this password and use the password here. Good. Give a friendly name. Like I can give Win server. I'll just put today's date, like 20 August, right? Good. Add server here. Add. Okay, it's added now. Let's connect. And the first time it will ask to verify the certificate. Yes. Good. So it is now we are able to connect to the Windows machine. Okay. Now I have connected to the Windows machine, but while setting it off, while using any application, default application, you will see some permission issues. I'll show you how to fix it, the internet permission issues and all. Okay. Now we are good with this connectivity. What do we need? We need the internet. By default, there will be only the Internet Explorer will be there, right? Do you want to allow your PC to be discovered by other PCs and devices? Yes. Now what do we need? What just we have to do? Just go here and you will see something. Okay. Now it just in the first time it says Internet Explorer security configuration is enabled. So it will not allow you to connect most of the servers. If I do Google, sometimes I need to install the Chrome. Okay. Okay. Now for any installation, any software download, it will just block you. So what we have to do, we have to stop this security hardened. Okay, so how we'll do it? Go to your search button, just use for server manager. Go to the server manager. Okay, and here in the server, go to the local server. Just wait for some time, everything to be loaded successfully. What you can see here, the IE, that Internet Explorer, because by default only the Internet Explorer will be available on the Windows server. You will not have any web browser available. So what we need, we have this enhanced, so make it off. Okay, it is not recommended, but you have to, for initial setups, you have to do it, and then you will come back and you can just do the enhanced security configuration on. Okay, now I'll just off it. I just made it off. Done. So we are seeing some errors here, warning error. That's fine, and okay, it is off already. Okay, now you can see it is reflected as off. Okay, now let's close this one. It's not required anymore. Let me go here and search here anything. So let me just install. Okay, I don't need a comment. So what we need for installation of agent, we need the Java to be installed first. Okay, in our case Java will not be there by default. So what we have to do, we have to install the Java, right? So install, I can just search for install Java. Okay, so what we need, you have to install the Java from the java.com page. Okay, so what we can do here, just simply go to the Java page. But what happens, you should go to, because Java is now acquired by Oracle, right? So you have to go to the Java downloads Oracle page. Now what you need, here you'll see the Java downloads page and all these things, but we need suppose specific version Java 8 or Java something. So how we'll do that, go to the Java downloads. Okay, and you will have some Java archives here, right? Sorry, just go to the Java archive. In the Java archive you'll find where it is not loading, previous Java releases, it is not displaying here. Okay, this IE has this is the problem you'll face if you are using the older version of Internet Explorer. Okay, you have not upgraded. I don't have time to upgrade this Windows. What I can do, simply I can use Google to install the Chrome. Okay, just what is this? Using the Chrome. Yes. Now just try to install the Chrome. It will be very easy. Just quickly install the Chrome. It's not able to download it itself. Okay, Chrome download. Download Chrome. Just install it as the normal user, normal application setup, whatever install you do installations in your Windows server. Okay, same thing, you just install it quickly. Waiting to install, just wait for a few seconds, it will be installed quickly. Okay, and while creating the Windows machine, you would have noticed, right, Windows by default it takes 30 GB of space. By default it uses some different port. The RDP port will be a different one. You should remember whenever you are creating any Windows machine, that should be okay, right? Otherwise you'll face some issues. See, 30 GB is the by default it gives. If you need more storage, you can just increase it, or if you are okay with just installing some small softwares which is not acquiring more storage, then you are okay with that, and you can go wide. I just got the Chrome quickly. So what I need, go to the archive page. Go to the archive page. Let me close this one. It did not copy, I think. Sit. Good. Okay, so you can see here it is just loaded quickly because it has the JavaScript plugins in this Chrome, and it quickly is getting loaded. So just go to the Java SE, and suppose I need Java particular versions, whatever the versions you need for Java, you can just go and use it. Try to download the Java. Suppose I need this Java 8. Okay, select this one and download as per your operating system, Linux, macOS, Solaris. Okay, so I'll just use the Windows installer. Now let me just install this 86 one, download this .exe. I review, and it will ask you to log into the Oracle with the Oracle credentials. And you should have use this Oracle credentials, otherwise it will not work. Before that, you just register. If you don't have, just create an account, and it will allow you to download the Java, and it's open, it's free. Okay, you can just use it. Now let me just get my credentials very quickly. It's already, okay, I got it. This should be it's one for you. This failed. Just provide full email ID, I think. Up 021. Okay, so as soon as it succeeds, you can see here the Java JDK is installed here. Sorry, is downloaded here. Now just go close this one. Go to the folder here. Go to the downloads. Oh no, where it is installed. Sorry, where it is downloaded. closed it, I think. Okay, just so in folders. Okay, it's in our local C users administrator downloads. Okay, fine. Go here. I'm just quickly installing the Java, and after installing the Java, you should, what do you do? You should set off the environment variables, and that is must. Okay, see, we have this Java. If I go to the CMD, okay, just open the CMD and make sure you open the command prompt as administrator. Okay, run as administrator. Click this run as administrator, and if I do here Java hyphen version, we'll see there is no Java is installed here. Okay, so let me just quickly install the Java here. Next, and it will be easy and quickly it will be installed. Okay, welcome to the Java SE. Select the development tool, everything will be installed there. Just wait for a few seconds, it will be installed. Okay, and these things actually as I'm showing you from the scratch, it's taking some time, and you're in your organization, everything as I told, it will be everything set up will be done, and it will take very few minutes for you to set up the agents. You don't have to worry about that. As we are going to set off a fresh Windows machine, we got the Windows machine, everything we have to set up and from the scratch manually. This is the thing we did very minimal actually. If you are going to set up with the enterprise versions of Windows, you may encounter with different security issues, different kind of security issues, and in that time, at that time, you should coordinate with your administrator to fix that one. Okay, if you are not familiar with the administrative stuff. Now my Java is installed. Good. What do you need? As we see, the Java is installed, but still if I do Java version, it is not recognized. Okay, so how we'll do fix that? Just use the environment variable set of, edit the system environment variables. Good. Open this. You can see here environment variables option is there. Go ahead, and in the below section, just go to the edit here, and what do we, sorry, not edit, we have to just add a new one, system variables. Okay, just give a name variable. Next I can give yes Java underscore home, it should be Java underscore home, and give the path where Java is installed. So it should must be under C, right? Go to the C directory, program files 86, and you can see here Java is there, right? We have this Java JDK, get this Java JDK one, right? Copy this, sorry. Now go to the system environment, paste it here. Okay, now what we need? Okay, so the environment variable is set up now, and here use the variable for administrator. So what we can do, we can just simply use this as underscore, sorry, Java underscore home, sorry, percentile Java underscore home percentile. Okay, give the, okay, So not I have to sorry, I should have edit this path. You should edit this path. This is the global variable of the path. Edit this path, and here you set off as this new. Okay, give us percentile Java underscore home, give percentile. Okay, click OK, and here the Java is added. Now press OK. Done. Now if I do Java version, still it is okay. Let me exit out from this CMT, run as administrator, Java hyphen version. Okay, now you can see it gives us the Java version. That means Java is installed and set up perfectly. Be careful while you doing set up this Java environment variables. Okay, after installations in Windows, you must have to set up the Java environment variables. Okay, system environment variables. Now all done, and you make sure that you open this as administrator. Okay, now we need this environment command prompt to execute some agent related stuffs. So what I need, let me just minimize this stuff. Don't need. Let's go to the Jenkins. Okay, now everything is done. Go to the Windows agent. Once you click it, it gives some options to do that. Okay, what I need, we need to execute this path on our agent machine. Okay, so before that, what we have to, we had set up the C:\Jenkins folder. Also we had a remoting folder, if you remember, where I had said to place the logs and everything. And let first create these folders and everything. Okay, so what I'll do, go to the instead of this, let's make this okay. So what I can do, just let's quickly go to the C drive. Under C drive, let's create one folder called Jenkins. Okay, and under this Jenkins folder, we should have a folder called remoting. Done. Remote, sorry, spelling mistake. Remoting. Okay, remoting Jenkins and remoting. That's all. Now what you can do here, let's go all this setup and this folder and Jenkins. What do we need? We need to download one is jar agent.jar. If you go here, you can see here we have to execute the entire path here. Copy this entire things and paste it here. Okay, we need to execute this agent.jar. So how we'll get this agent.jar? What says unable to access the jar file agent.jar. So we don't have this agent.jar. Let's go to our C:\Jenkins folder. C:\Jenkins folder, and here I want to download this agent file. So how we'll do that? Simply, if you just right click this one, copy this link address, go to your Windows machine, use anything here, paste it here. Simply paste it here. What it will do, it will download it. Okay, you can see here agent.jar is now downloaded. Go to the folder, we have this agent.jar, copy this one, go to your C drive, Jenkins, okay, Jenkins, paste it here. Agent is pasted now. Now let's execute the command again. So let's go to the here and execute the command again. Let's see if any other error we are getting. Good. Okay, so we are getting this error like our Jenkins is okay. So if you see here what it says, invalid illegal character. You have to read the errors carefully. Illegal character double quote provided here. Okay, but this is, we have not put it in our own, right? It is given by the server, Jenkins server. Sometimes what happen, this extra character, the command is not, the Java is not executing. This is a typo actually. This is an error being provided by the Jenkins server. Okay, so let's fix that. What we need, we don't have to, just remove this double quote from both sides. We don't need this one. Okay, now what we need, we have to just use, okay, so before using this command, what we need, we have to set off, like Ibrahim was telling in our last class, right? So what we have to do, we have to change the global security there. Go to the manage Jenkins, okay, go to the configure global security. Under this, we'll see the port, right? The port number, the agent. So we can either set off random. In case of random, what happens, we are not sure what exact port is going to use, right? So in that case, what we can do, suppose I'm going to use a port called 50,000, or you can use a port whatever you fix. There is a fixed port you are going to use. Suppose I'm going to use the port number 50,000, okay, and it should be, you have to set up before the before you are running the agent. Okay, suppose I remove this, let's remove and save it. Okay, so let's go ahead and execute it. Let's see what is happening. It's trying to connect to the server, but it's failed. It says provided port 3674 is not reachable. Provided port, because it is randomly taking a port 36741 which is not reachable. That means we have not whitelisted this port. So to avoid this problem, right, to avoid this problem, we can add a simple port which will be fixed. You can set up the port as per your choice. Okay, suppose I'll give us 50,000 here. Okay, now what I can do, save it, and this port must be whitelisted in your security group. Okay, in your security group it must be whitelisted. Go to your EC2 instances, and there the security group I already have whitelisted in one of the security group which I have used. So if I go to the EC2 section here, okay, go to the server, instances, and here if I go to my Jenkins server, sorry, not Jenkins server, the machine which you are going to make the agent, right? So this is the node agent. So Windows machine, go to the security here, and I have Windows-SD, one security group. If I go here, and here you will see two different ports will be whitelisted. One is 3389. 3389 is the RDP port. It is the RDP protocol port. Okay, see the type is RDP. This is the default port of the RDP 3389. And what I have done, I have set off one, it's called 8080. Okay, 50,000 is not set up yet. Okay, so what I can do, without setting up the 50,000, let me connect. Let's see what again we're error getting, right? So what happened here, it is trying to, okay, isn't 50,000 is connected, so that means I have already set off in this in Windows server. Okay, so if I go to the agent, sorry, not agent, I was telling you the wrong thing. If I go to the agent server, sorry, Windows Jenkins server security, go to the lamp SG. Okay, in this lamp SG I already have set off 50,000. Okay, now if I go here, we can see here this agent 138 port 50,000 able to connect to the server. Let's go to the Jenkins machine here. Go to the dashboard. We can see here we have two agents now available, Node Linux one and Windows agent. Two agents now available. If I go to the manage Jenkins node, see we have this Linux agent and Windows agent is set up successfully. So we are clear all how to set up the Windows agent. Okay, first thing, we set up the Windows agent, that is okay, but setting up the Windows agent we need the prerequisites to be there. What is that? Java. So Java to be installed, so first you have to install the Java, set up the environment variables and all the things. And for sometimes what you need to build a project, you may need to set up different softwares. You may need different software to be installed the build server. So you have to log into your Windows machine, you have to install it. Okay, now we have set up all these agents. So let's first start working with the Linux agent and then we'll start working with the Windows agent. Okay, what I'm going to do here, let's go ahead and create a job. Let's go ahead and create a job. Dashboard, let me go and create a simple job here. I can see slave agent demo. Okay, let's create with the freestyle. Okay, master slave demo. It's a slave agent demo. Fine. Now if you see here, what we can see, if I run particular job, if I create the job, okay, let me simply create the job without doing anything, and just in the build section just execute a cell. Okay, echo okay, hello there. Fine, save it. Simply created a job, but I did not specify this anything. Okay, so what will happen here? What will happen here? If I execute this job, I have not set up any agent yet. So what will happen? Where it will run? It will run on the master agent. It will run on master server. Okay, so let me add to show you something. Let me add a simple sleep command to sleep the job. Sleep. Suppose I want to sleep for 20 seconds. Okay, save it. Now let's start build now. Good, it's just building, right? If I go to the dashboard and you will see here, and it will be building on master only. Okay, we have created the agent, but we have not set off these things in the master. So how the master will identify and distribute the work? Now anything you run, it by default it will run on the master built-in node, but how the master will identify and distribute the job to the respective machine? Okay, now as there is only one sleep job I tried, it what happens? It the master took it automatically. Suppose if I create multiple jobs, okay, let's create multiple jobs. New item. I'll suppose use job 1 freestyle. Quickly I'll just create it to show you the demo how it works. Okay, so no description not required. I don't want to give it anything here, so just give it as sleep 20 seconds. Okay, let it increase to 30. Job 1. Let's go ahead and create a new job. Job 2. I'll create 3 jobs so to demonstrate all these things. Job 2 style. Okay, quick, I'm not going to change anything. Execute sleep 30. 30. Save it. Similarly, go ahead and create one more job here. Job 3, freestyle. Okay. Build, execute serve, sleep 30. So Unix is case sensitive. In case you give wrong command, it will fail. Okay. I hope the other two jobs I have not given any wrong commands there. Let me just verify it. I have given uppercase sleep, now it is fine. Good. Now what happened here? I have created 3 jobs. So what will happen if I execute all these 3 jobs simultaneously? What will happen if I execute 3 jobs simultaneously? So what is the nature of the master job? What is the nature of the controller? So Jenkins you can say as a master, controller, okay, anything you can tell. But companies, whenever you're going for the interviews, people can ask you what is the controller, right? How you set up the controller. If you don't remember what exactly the controller is, then that time you will face difficulties to answer their queries, to answer the questions, right? So master and controller are the same. Now I want to just execute these 3 jobs. What will happen? Master will take, because master has 2 executors, node Linux has also 2, and Windows agent also, Linux agent and Windows agent also 2, both having 2 agents. Now let me just execute 3 jobs, 2, 3. So what happened here? I executed 3, right? I clicked, what happens, job 1, job 2, job 3 is not clicked or what? Okay, I click job 3 again. So you can see here, master has sent it to node 1, suppose this to the Linux 1. Okay, job 1, job 2 has been sent to Linux, but job 3, why it is? Let me refresh this page. Okay, job 3 is failing. Might be there is some command issue. 3 times I clicked and 3 times it failed. It could be the command I used. It is sleep 30 is fine. It's correct, right? But why it's failing? Sleep 30. Let's go and check the logs why it is failing. Go to your, the system cannot specify execute cell marked builder failure. Okay. You can find it out, right? Why it is failed? It is simple, guys. See, I sent 3 jobs, right? I sent 3 jobs. So master, what it did, all the 3 jobs it delivered to the agents. It delivered to the available agents. If agent is offline, it will not deliver. It will check if the agents are online. It will directly deliver those jobs. It will not understand where to deliver, but simply it will deliver to the agents. As these 3 jobs are related to the Linux machines, all these jobs should be built under the Linux machine. So what happened? It is, so what happened? It is just click. If you see here, it is just failed. Okay, it is just failed. Now what we need to tell the master to distribute the agent, to distribute the workload, to distribute the build based on the labels setup. Okay, based on the labels setup. Now you can see here our job 3 should run on Linux. If you see this job, it is went to the Windows agent. Master sent it to Windows agent, and if you go to check the logs, both the time it has been sent to the Windows agent. And Windows agent does not have the Linux command to execute. It is What is build step execute cell failed because it is running on the Windows agent. Okay, now how to fix this jobs to run on only Linux machine? We can do it here by changing the node properties. Okay, by changing the labels in the node. So let's go ahead, go to the manage Jenkins, manage nodes. Okay, here what we can do, select node Linux, configure it, just give a label here, just give a labels here. Okay, and these labels can be used anywhere in your Linux, sorry, in anywhere in your Jenkins project, any freestyle project, or any kind of like any, what you can say, any pipeline jobs or automations you are creating. You can use this agent to set up. Suppose I'll use this label as Linux 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 agent, something, the agent name, the label I gave as Linux agent. And what it says, use this as much as possible, the usage, right? I can see only build jobs with the label expression is matching this role. Instead of only build jobs with label expressions matching this node. So the jobs which will match these labels will execute on this machine. Okay, now save this. I set up this node because this is the one-time setup, guys. This is the one-time setup. Obviously, it will be a lengthy one if we are going to set off these things, because this is the first time we are going to set up. But while you are started working on that, you don't have to set up it again. You simply have to focus on your automations. You have to simply focus on your works. Okay. Now what we can do here, simply go ahead and set up the labels with the jobs. Okay, so the jobs whatever we have created, let's configure it. This times you have to do practice, otherwise it will cause some problem. Okay, so here is if you don't practice, right, you can not able to do it. You'll forget immediately. You have to do multiple practice to do the slave master and slave architecture setup. Okay, now what you have to do, just restrict where this project can be run. Just give the label expression here. So the label is Linux agent, right? Give the
hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, Jyoti.
Sir, label is unique for the particular node, or it's means if I create some new slave machine, then if I put the same label name, it's give error, or
It will give error, right? It will give ambiguity error, right? Yeah. So how the master will understand which? See, it will send this labels, but anyway you cannot create it. Actually, it will throw error because it will say already the labels present, right? It will throw
means
errors.
it's unique.
It should be unique.
Means it. Okay.
Okay, it should be unique. The agent name should be unique, because based on the agent name only, the master will distribute the build. The master will distribute the task. Okay, so I just give it agent. So what happened here? The job 1 is now set up to run on Linux agent. To run on Linux agent. Okay, now let's save it. Now let's go to modify job 2, right? Let's modify the job 2 here and configure. Suppose I want this job to run on the Windows machine, So similarly, we have to set up and create a label for the Windows agent as well. Okay, configure the Windows agent and set up a label here, right? I can say win agent. Okay, win agent, and only build jobs with this win agent can run. Save it. So agent, Windows agent also set up, done. Now let's go ahead. Suppose I want this job to be executed on Windows machine, So what I can do, configure it, restrict where this project can be run, I can just give win agent here. Okay, Win agent, done, save it. Okay, so let's go ahead and execute these three jobs again. So we'll see what is happening. Okay, let's execute this. 3, 2, 1. So 3 is taken by master itself. Job 1 is taken by load Linux, but where is job 2? Job 2 should be taken by, because we had executed this job 2, we had sent up to the Windows machine, right? And here is the problem. As job 2 we sent to the Windows machine to be executed, right? If I refresh this page, we'll see job 3 success, job 2 is failed. Why it is failed? Can anybody tell why it is failed? We sent this to run on Windows agent, and also it has run on Windows agent. So why it is failed? In the last time Linux machine,
Because shell command, no?
exactly. So we gave
Linux shell command.
we gave a shell command. We forgot to change to the batch, right? So we have to remove this, okay, and use execute Windows batch command. Okay, select it here. So in batch we can also type echo, right? It should work. Save it. Okay, now build it. If you build, you will see it will okay, it is success now. If I go here and just go, and you can see here it has run on Windows agent, and it gives us hello Windows. So it will run on Windows. Now you know how specifically you can set off the agents, and you can set up the labels. Okay, you can set up the labels. Now let's go ahead and check the, go to the agent again, manage nodes. There we saw what we saw there. We saw how we can set off the node, and we can set off the labels. See, so for every the labels whatever we are using in the freestyle process. We are using the freestyle one, right? So now you saw how to set up the freestyle jobs with the labels expression. Now let's go ahead and use the node properties. So how you'll set up this node properties? Go on configurations, and remember guys, and this Linux agent, okay, what is this project tied to node Linux, this is the agent name, and this label name, this label you have to use in your pipeline code and specific region, otherwise it will not work. Okay, I'll show you in our the pipeline project how you set up this agent. I'll quickly do that. Okay, now let's go ahead and set off this nodes. Go to the configure here, and you know this number of executors you can increase and decrease, that is fine. Here we have this node properties. We have this node properties. We can create the environment variables for the particular node as much as possible. You can create the environment variables of this node as much as possible. So what you can do, add, suppose I just give a name as env environment. I can just give us Linux. Okay, I can create one more variable called as, I can just give us, what is the version, just give 1.2.1 version, done, save it. Okay, then we set up this node properties. If you want these properties to be accessed by the automation script, whatever you have written by the pipeline code or by the jobs, freestyle jobs or whatever jobs you have created. If you want the things to be retrieved there, to be accessed there, how you'll do that? Simple things. Go here. Suppose I want this job 1 to be used. Configure here as this is running on the Linux agent. Suppose I want echo. So what was the variable name was given? env, right? So I can use echo dollar. Within the curly braces you can give, or without the curly braces also you can give as env. Okay, this is not ampersand, sorry, this should be dollar, not ampersand. And better for the code clarity, you can just better give ampersand curly braces environment. Okay, this is running on, I can just give for better, this is running on Linux server. Good. Okay, with version, I can just give the version name here. Okay, good. These variables, whatever we created, this node properties we set up in the node, and this is going to run on the Linux node only. That's why it is giving. Okay, done. Now let's save it. Execute this job. Okay, go to the dashboard, and you will see it will be running on the Linux node because we have sent this to run on the Linux agent. Okay, now this job is running, and if you go and check the outputs, it will be sleeping now as it is sleep 30. Just wait for a few seconds. I gave it a long window. Okay, see, this is running on Linux and version 1.2.1. so it fetched this value from the node properties, from the node Linux agent. It fetched this one. Suppose if you run this job into a different environment, different agent, what will happen? These properties will not be fetched because this properties only belongs to that particular node. So you'll be seeing where this will be helpful and it will be useful in case you are using a particular software or particular library or binaries or any environment, and you want that particular properties to be used when you build the job on that particular machine. That time you can use the node properties to automate the steps, and you don't have to exactly write everything in your master server. You can write the properties and share some variables to the node also. Okay, now let's execute the real-time project. Now let's execute the real-time project on a particular agent. Okay, now let's go ahead, create a freestyle job very quickly, or pipeline job, and for the second batch people, I think you'll not I think Amit and Mandar, for you pipeline I have not covered. You just see how this is working, but don't worry about that. I'll take the pipeline for you very shortly, maybe tomorrow. Okay, I'll complete pipeline for you. Now let's go ahead and set off a pipeline job. I'll see it here, like master slave something. I will give pipeline. Select the pipeline job here. Okay, select the pipeline. Okay, I don't want to use this. First time I'm not going to use anything here. Okay, simple. Let's go ahead and pipeline from script. Okay, pipeline script from SCM, and select it. Done. SM selected git, and we need this repository URL, right? GitHub. Quickly I'll go here. I need this DevOps project, which is the common project I use. We have multiple projects also. We'll see how that can be used. Okay, so let's go ahead and use a version in our last class 1.2 b5. Okay, and this does not have anything. Okay, fine. So let's go ahead and use suppose test 1.2 with build properties. I don't need this again. Test 1.1. And this is again build properties is that. Okay, fine. So I want this Jenkins file to be executed. Jenkins file to be executed. Okay, so what I'll do, if I don't specify, if we just check this Jenkins file, it gives that isn't any. So what it will do, any available agent, that means any available agent, it will be executed. Any available agent, it will be executed. Okay, suppose I want to execute this project or build this project. Let me just copy this URL. Okay, go here, paste it, right, save it. Okay, here I did a mistake again. I have given the branch as master. It should be test 1.1. Remove this, test hyphen 1.1. Branch specifier, save it. Okay, let's go ahead and build the job. Let's see where it is getting built. If I go here, okay, so what is happening here? It is being taken by the master itself. It is being taken by the master itself. Okay, so the master is started building now, and it is, let's see whether it is success or failed. If I go here, it is failed. Let's see. Okay, fine, it should fail because we don't have this Tomcat server set up, because we don't have Tomcat server running, and Tomcat server is also has IP address change, so definitely it will fail. But it is failing under build also. Let's fix it, why it is failing under build. If I go here, check the build. Okay, so it is because it is failing the Java error. Master is having Java 11. So if I go here to the master, this green is the master one, right? This green is the master one. So if I do here Java hyphen version, the master will have, okay, the 11. So it is the version compatibility, Java compatibility issue. That's why our build is failing. That's why our build is failing. That means the master does not have the capability to run this build. So how can I build? And we have set up our Linux machine with Java 8 version, which our project is compatible, right? So let's fix that one to run the project on Linux agent machine. How we'll do that? Okay, let's go ahead and change. This is will be a fully automations, right? Let's change the Jenkins file, modify the Jenkins file. I'll go here. This we can comment as this part will fail because we do not have this server to deploy. So let's simply comment this out. Okay, let's simply comment this particular part. Okay, so I just commented this particular, just type echo deployment, something I just put it here. Okay, fine, because this server is no more there, so it will fail to deploy this server. Now what I'm going to do, instead of agent any, what I can do, I can just put and here label. Okay, what is the label name? The label name, I suppose want to use Linux agent. Okay, I want to use this Linux agent machine. What is that? We have to copy this name, Linux agent, labels Linux agent, right? I have to put it there, label Linux agent. Okay, agent, put the label and this give the agent name of the agent or the label of the agent. Done. Now save it. This is how you have to change and update in the pipeline. Okay, how to execute. This is, I showed you in the freestyle how you set off this one, and in the pipeline you have to write the agent in the agent section and you have to provide the label here. Instead of any, we provided label here. Now I saved it. If I go to this agent here again, okay, sorry, dashboard, go to the job. Now what do we do? Simply build now. If we start building, what will happen? Go to the dashboard and you will see it's not being taken. Again it is failed. There must be some syntax error. That's why it failed very quickly. If it is failing very quickly or stable, it should be syntax error. Okay, we see here we have a syntax error here. Okay, we have a syntax error here. So what it says, anything but expecting new line. Got it anyway. Okay, while writing the code, right, I messed it up. Let's check this one. What here? Okay, it's what happens here, right? Script echo something. So this particular part is not taking it off. So what I can do, let's remove this part. Just commit the changes. That's not required, that particular bunch of code. Let's go ahead, build it now again. Build now. So it is started building. Let's quickly go to the agent and see. See, it's being sent to Linux machine, Linux agent. So if I go here and it is failed, okay, again it is failed, it's fine. Build, if I see here, it is running on the node Linux. So it has been sent to the load Linux machine. Okay, fine. So let's see why it is failed. Good. It is failed because, as I told you, the agent machine, the build server, should have the specified build softwares to be installed, right? Because Maven is not installed. Maven is not installed there. That's why it is failing. And you have to install the Maven to run that particular project to run it. Similarly, whatever I told, whatever things you need your project to be built successfully, everything you should install on your node machine. That's why if you are going to do it from the scratch, all these things you have to do by yourself. If not, your company would have already created a machine for you and you can request the request software to be installed by the administrator, and you need that particular path to be set up. As what it says the Maven clean package is not available, right? So what we can do, we can quickly install the Maven in our node machine. Okay, so this is the node machine. Let me go here and I'll quickly install the Maven. So what is the easiest way to install the Maven? So I can just master slave installations of CI/CD. Okay, we have this thing, and what I can do here, simply I'll quickly go to the Maven. Okay, I'll download this to the OPT folder, cd opt. I'm setting this on the Windows agent machine. This white is the Linux agent machine. Sorry, this one is the Linux agent machine. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll simply use that command to download this one. Okay, this file is downloaded. Now let me quickly rename this. Sorry, I have to untar it first. It is tar file. I have to untar it. Use the command tar-xvf, file name untarred. Okay, it will create a folder. Rename this folder mv. I'll give us Maven. Done. Right, this is what I set up, and this setup has already been done in the global configuration as opt Maven. Now our Maven is installed, right? So let's see if anything we have to do the setups. So let's go ahead. Okay. And these things we need to set up. What we need, we have to add this command so that it will be automatically to be added while executing and rebooting the server, right? So this script we can execute it. It should not be ch mode, and I can just give 777. No worries, give this one. Sorry, it should be ch mode. Okay. I can execute this. Okay, now so Maven is things done. Maven setup is done. Now if I go ahead, okay, and build the job again, let's see what's happening. Okay, build now, and okay, fourth build is running. And if I go here, you can see fourth build also taken by the Linux agent. It is taken by the Linux agent because we have set up in our pipeline to send the job to be built on this build server. We made this node Linux as my Java application build server. All the Java related applications should be built under this, and all the .NET related applications, if you want to be built on the Windows machines, so you can use the Windows machine to build all .NET related applications. Also, if you want this Java also to be installed, similarly you have to install the Java and require Maven on the Windows machines, and you can build the machine here. Now let's go and check the jobs. The job is still running. The building is running perfectly. Okay, so if I go ahead and check the outputs, it will be yes, it is running perfectly because it is downloading all the softwares and binaries. Then it will start building it. Okay, perfectly it is running. Good. So this is how you have to set off the jobs. Okay, it is failed because of some issues again, but in our build, okay, so build failure because of, okay, no compiler is provided in this environment because of some Java related issues, either JRE or JDK. The path was not specified. Okay, that's why the build is failed. But you now see how it is being executed, right? Simply the Java, all these projects being executed on the particular node or particular agent. If you go to and check the full logs, you can see here agent. So in this way you have to set up in your organization and in your project, and the rest of the issues and the errors you have to fix it by checking the code logs and all these things, why it is being failing. There's something might the issue comes related to your system environment setup and system issues and all those related stops, right? So you have to be careful while setting it off. Okay, so guys, do you have any thing to ask or any questions? we must we covered this both agent setup as well as we see how to set up the labels to create and set up the jobs to just run on a specific machine. Also we saw how the properties works, and the same properties also can be accessed here in the pipeline. Okay, can be accessed here in the pipeline. Also we saw how to set up and install this Maven and all, and whatever tools you are using, make sure you are just setting it off in that particular environment. So there is a
Sir,
yeah.
sir,
Yes.
in this pipeline agent, so can we parallelly run the two levels, or cannot?
Yes, we can run parallelly. So in our parallel sections, whatever I was telling, we'll see if we add a parallel section here, under each stage we can add the agent. Suppose in these parallel sections, okay, let me just go to the parallel code. We have written it, right? Okay, suppose we want to run this particular parallel, right? These two stages are running parallelly, right? Stage this stage 1 and this stage, and if you want to run this particular task on this agent, what you can do, we can run under this stage we can put the agent here. So what will happen, this particular stage will run on the server. So that is a good question, Jyoti. Guys, remember, sometimes you will be writing multiple builds in one pipeline code, multiple builds. What will happen in that case, you want some build, if you are executing parallelly, if you want some build to be run on particular agent. Okay, let's discuss about an example here. And if you are running some SonarQube, if you are running some Sonar type scanning and all, and your building server is different and your SonarQube server is a different one, and if you are doing some error scanning, if you are different software, different tools to perform that task, and that tool is installed in a different server, okay, in a different server, and if you want that particular stage to be run on that particular agent, then you can set up multiple labels here in the code. If you want the build to be executed on a build server, and if you want to be that code to be scanned in your scan server, in your SonarQube server, you can set up that way. We'll have an entire complete project. In that project, I'll show you how we can set up this with a different, when we set up the SonarQube and all. Okay, that time I'll show you. Yes, we can do. Okay, guys, and remember, yeah, Jyoti.
Actually, can you repeat this again? Actually, I can understand how to write the code.
Okay.
If parallelly.
Okay, fine. So if what you have to do, you have to set up, see, in this stage, suppose this stages, we have this stage particularly, and here in this parallel sections, and if you want to run these sections parallelly to a different staging environment, so what we can do, we can simply add this particular, let me edit this and run this particular machine. Okay, let me edit this one. Before that, let me first take the code and create a new branch. Okay, go ahead and create a new branch. I'll get it like test label 1.1 something. I created like this. Done. Now let's modify this Jenkins file. Okay, and here what I need, I don't need this particular stuff here. Let's remove this out. This particular okay, this particular things. I want this echo to be there, echo statement, let it be there. The rest of the things not read because it will fail. we don't have the accurate environment ready, so it will fail. Okay, steps done. So okay, fine, let it be there, it's already there. So archiving artifact and all, so just wait here, and I want suppose this particular stage to run on the thing, right? So what I'll do, I add here isn't, okay, put it here, sorry, label, just give Linux isn't. Okay, done. Save it here. Let's see. I saved it here and I want this to be run. Let's test label 1.1. Let's go ahead here, modify this, configure it, okay, and check this to test label 1.1. I think this should be correct. Save. Let's build it. Okay, let's build it. Okay, there is a typo. Sorry, there is a label 1.1 test label 1.1. Okay, what is that one? That's a spelling mistake. LABLE. Okay, configure it. Okay, go here, configure test label. Sorry, not here. You have to modify this. It should be cancel it here itself. It is not label. Okay, 1.1. Save it. Build now. So it is building it. Done. It's building. Good. Okay, anyway, it is failed. Build failure. Build failure is okay, that is fine. Okay, anyway, the build is failed, that's why it is not taking it off. Fine. Okay, so what you do, let me, okay, it will take a lengthier time again to fix that compatibility issue. So what you can do, Jyoti, for your task, just go home and change some pipeline jobs, whatever I showed you. Try to write the agent like this on a particular stage, okay, under this particular stage, and try to execute it and see how it is working. Okay, this is a task for you and let me know, because for my case I have to change the Java versions in the Jenkins server to in order to work the build, because the project whatever I'm using is not 11 compatibility. That is fine. And other thing is, for everyone, what you have to do, I just showed you how to run this in the Linux machine. For your task is the entire environment you do set up on Windows machine. You now saw how to set up the Windows machine, and you saw how to install the Java and set up the environment variables on the Windows machine. And the task for you is to install the Maven, also to install and to execute the same Java project on the Windows machine. And tomorrow class, let's discuss on that particular things, and also we'll see the different other configurations and integrations, okay, in our tomorrow classes. Any doubt, guys, we can discuss, or else we can wind up these calls for today and we'll see it tomorrow.